Ladies and gentlemen, everything was fine. Everything was all good. We saw a 25 basis point cut as expected, but Jerome Powell, that little rascal, had to go out there and run his mouth, right? And for this reason, he is officially uninvited from my birthday party. He is no longer my friend. In fact, I dislike the guy, and I'll tell you why. He comes out there and he says, we're not allowed to own Bitcoin in reference to the US Treasury. Trump coming out and saying, we're going to buy a bunch of Bitcoin. He's saying, no, we're not going to do it. Okay, he's confusing people. And he's also saying that inflation is remaining pretty, I guess you could say, stubborn. It's not really coming down as fast as they expected. And so they're leaving rates up higher than previously anticipated. They're cutting rates less in the future at the moment. That's what the general vibe is. And so this has led to some market downturn here. Jerome, when will you learn, my friend? $700 million liquidated from the cryptocurrency market over the last 24 hours. You can see it right there where my cursor is. We've got 570 million in longs gone. We got about 100 million in shorts gone, leading through into today. 200 million in longs again, 40 million in shorts. Pretty volatile stuff going on here. The S&P 500 just absolutely dived. It took a big dive of around 3%, almost 4% on one singular daily candle. You don't see that very often, guys. I mean, we haven't seen that in a long period of time. We haven't seen that since back here in August, essentially. Even longer than that, potentially. So it's been pretty significant. And of course, Bitcoin took a hit coming from the top of its wedge formation all the way down to the bottom of the wedge formation. We'll discuss that today. And we'll discuss the altcoin market because there's an interesting thing happening on altcoins here. We know where we are historically speaking and cyclically speaking. We know we're basically right here. This 2021 parabolic move, the first move above the breakout of the prior all-time high, that's where we are right now. We're on that first parabolic move. Now, in the last cycle, altcoins did not move downwards on the Bitcoin correction. However, on the Bitcoin pullback we've seen here so far, we have seen altcoins get wrecked a little bit. And so that's a little bit interesting. It could suggest that altcoins perhaps are not as strong as they were in the 2021 cycle at this point in time. We'll discuss that as well today. We'll keep it short and sweet like usual. Go leave a like down below. Chuck a comment down there in the comment section just to boost me in the algorithm if you get a chance. And also, if you want an exchange, which you need one, right? Everyone needs an exchange. We've got the Bitfinex and the Blowfin exchanges here. They're both global non-KYC. You can access them from anywhere in the world. I use Bitfinex personally, and I have done so for about a year at this point. It's a great exchange. Blowfin's an alternative exchange if you want one. And then we have a 15% trading fee discount available. If you sign up to the Bitfinex exchange, you'll get that 15% trading fee discount attached to your account for life. So every single buy and sell. Help me out by signing up with my links and help yourself out by getting on a good exchange. So take your picks here, Bitfinex or Blowfin. The links are down below. Highly recommend you do that. Let's get into the content. So although the market's been pretty much wrecked in the last 24 hours in the short term, there's really not much medium-term or long-term change at all. In fact, there's zero long-term change. Everything looks identical long-term. We haven't even broken below the medium-term structure, which is the ascending wedge formation. So although we have the illusion of a lot of things happening here, really not much has happened at all. Bitcoin's still in its ascending wedge formation. That's still a bearish structure, unfortunately. That's still a structure with a descending volume in the upwards trend. I'm not going to sit here and say Bitcoin's guaranteed to break down. We can't say that. Generally speaking, when you see when you see upwards price action like this, grinding upwards price action in a bull market, that can actually represent bullish absorption just as much as it can represent bearish exhaustion. So it's very difficult to say what's going to happen here next, but all we know is that these lines are valid. And until these lines are actually broken, we don't really know what's happening. We're still in the same range. I expect this range to be breaking very, very shortly. Like within days, probably. I don't see how it could extend much longer than it's already extended. And you can see here on the RSI, if it loads in, that yellow line there on the 4-hourly chart RSI will be validation for a breakdown below the wedge itself. So if we do break down below the wedge on the price chart and we break below that RSI line on the 4-hourly chart, that will be full confirmation of a correction in play. As I've said before many times on this YouTube channel at this point, a correction is not cause for concern on the macro unless something like 74K is broken, 74K being the prior range's high. You can see my internet's quite bad here today. I'm not sure why. But as you can see, the prior range, which stems from March all the way through to October, found resistance to 74K. And so until we break 74K, we're pretty much in the clear here. There are some other indicators we can look at, like the weekly chart Gaussian channel. But at the moment, all of those indicators are below 74K. So for the time being, we're focusing predominantly on 74K itself. So really no progression on the medium term. The interesting thing that's happened here, in my view, is to do with altcoins and the altcoin market in general. As I mentioned in the introduction, we are kind of copying 2021 at the moment, or at least that's what the data suggests, right? So we had that all-time high from the prior cycle, resistance until that all-time high point. We broke above that all-time high. We entered our first parabolic move in 2021. And on that parabolic move is when we saw Bitcoin dominance really start to drop. We've seen the exact same thing this cycle so far, minus the deviations earlier this year. For the most part, we found resistance at that 69K level, okay, which is the prior all-time high. We've seen that parabolic move, and on that parabolic move is when altcoins really started to outperform Bitcoin, when Bitcoin dominance started to drop. The only difference is now Bitcoin dominance is bouncing back up. Now, that's a little bit different to what happened in 2021. Bitcoin dominance just went straight downwards in 2021. And so if we are copying 2021 fully, we really shouldn't be seeing this bounce on Bitcoin dominance. It's not that this Bitcoin dominance bounce is invalidating the altcoin season. That's not the case, right? The altcoin season is still active because the Bitcoin dominance bounce has not broken above the breakdown levels on Bitcoin dominance. Like, there's no macro uptrend here. It's still a macro downtrend. We've still got the resistance from our prior support line here on the price chart, and we've still got the resistance from our prior support line here on the RSI as well. So Bitcoin dominance is not reversed. We're not in a Bitcoin season again. It is at this point just a short-term bounce. But the fact of the matter is that didn't even happen in 2021 in any capacity. We just dropped straight downwards on Bitcoin dominance. And furthermore, as you can see here with the total 3 cryptocurrency market cap chart, the altcoin market cap chart, when Bitcoin saw a 32% correction there in 2021, where I just circled, altcoins actually skyrocketed massively, even more massively than they did before the correction began. So Bitcoin correcting represented a shift, right? People were selling their Bitcoin and putting it straight into altcoins. But this time it looks like on the Bitcoin pullback, people are selling their Bitcoin and putting it into stable coins instead. They're not shifting their money into altcoins. So there's slightly different market dynamics here. Now, I suspect that's something due to the fact that the total 3 cryptocurrency market cap chart is not in a parabolic breakout yet. It is still finding resistance at its 2021 all-time high on the weekly close. And also, Ethereum is still finding resistance from its March highs, which it double topped on over the last couple of weeks. So I think it's just something to do with the fact that altcoins simply are not really in a breakout yet. Whereas in 2021, they very much were. If you look at 2021, Ethereum, by the time Bitcoin started correcting, Ethereum was above its prior all-time high. That's just not the case this time. Ethereum is not even anywhere near its all-time high. It's actually at the March high, which is still like 1,000 points away from the 2021 all-time high. So I think altcoins, unfortunately, this cycle are just lagging a little bit. Now, we're still seeing the same trends. Like, we've still seen Bitcoin dominance drop. It's just not as aggressive as it was last time. And again, we can speculate on the reasons for that. I just did. Ethereum is just pretty much very much at resistance. So is the total 3. Now, why is that the case? Why are altcoins not really where they were last cycle? Why are altcoins showing weakness and delay here? I think it's just due to the fact that this cycle so far has been a lot weirder than 2021. 2021 was very straightforward. Yeah, we had COVID. That was a little dilemma. But after that, we just had massive amounts of stimulus coming into the market. This time, of course, we had 8 months of randomness, just 8 months of chop for very little explainable reason other than the fact that the market was overvalued via the ETFs and went upwards way too high, way too soon. I think that chop has scared people a little bit. And for that reason, I think people are clinging to their Bitcoin a little bit more than they were in the prior cycles because perhaps they're finding safety in Bitcoin. They're not necessarily too aggressive with their investments because they know how weird the market can get and how weird the market has been this time around. So there's a few reasons, a few justifications you can pull forward and say, oh, that's why altcoins aren't going as fast as they were last cycle. Doesn't really matter what the reason is. The fact of the matter is they're not. The fact of the matter is altcoins are not doing as well as they were last cycle so far. Perhaps that trend continues. But I suppose the good news is even though they're not doing as well as they were last cycle, they still are doing well. Bitcoin dominance is still dropping. The total 3 is still at all-time highs. It hasn't broken them yet, but it's on the cusp of breaking them. And for the most part, I still think following traditional cyclical structure and trusting that the altcoin season will occur is the way to go. However, I think the recent data here, with this small Bitcoin pullback leading to altcoins getting decimated, does suggest that, okay, maybe de-risking on altcoins until that next Bitcoin move is fully confirmed could be the move for a lot of people. I'm not going to say it's the move for you, but I'm just saying it's certainly something you can do. Altcoins are showing a little bit more weakness here than they were in 2021. So if you want to de-risk and wait for that Bitcoin move to really ramp up again and wait for that next leg and then buy back, I'm not going to say that's completely illogical because it's not. It's a very safe thing to do. So guys, that's the video. Just not really much going on with Bitcoin, although we saw that short-term movement, the medium-term, the long-term still the same. a little bit of interesting things going on with altcoins here. I think that was the main topic today. So hopefully you found that interesting, guys. And hopefully altcoins can recover from here along with Bitcoin. But if Bitcoin does continue downwards, I really would not be shocked at this point to see altcoins continue downwards even more aggressively. Again, guys, go ahead and check out those exchanges, Bitunix and Blowfin, if you need an exchange, and everyone does. And let me say this, everyone needs a good exchange as well, because you're trusting them with your money, okay? You've got your money on there, and you're paying them fees. So don't be on a random exchange, be on a good one. Bitunix or Blowfin, I use Bitunix personally. 15% trading fee discount with my link down below. Takes 30 seconds to sign up. They're both global non-KYC. Check them out down below with my links. And of course, check out my VIP group on Telegram if you are interested. I post altcoin trading signals there 4 times a week. You're also getting access to a group chat, and you can see the historical trading results so you don't have to sign up blind. The last thing I'll say is leave a like, comment, and subscribe down below. I appreciate you guys, and I'll catch you soon.